So a lot of us have been waiting for this moment, and it's finally here, and it was so unexpected. But there's finally a Junji Ito anime. And I know technically there's been one before, because they did adapt Gyo. I personally haven't seen it. To be quite honest, the reason why is because I've heard not so good things about it. A lot of people seem to dislike it a lot. A recent friend of mine said that it's actually not as bad as people say, but I just haven't had time to check it out yet. So far, we've only been able to watch the first episode of the new series, Junji Ito Collection, and I guess the big burning question is it good? Now, fans were very quick to start voicing their opinions. I'm a little late to the game. I tried to stay away from as many reviews as possible until I watched the anime myself. And I have to say, I think right now, so far so good. It's certainly comic book accurate if that was your biggest concern. This episode adapts the first chapter of Soichi's Diary of Curses pretty accurately. The biggest trip was actually just watching Soichi move and talk. It's the weirdest thing, but I really did love the voice work. I unfortunately did not prepare. I don't know the voice actor's name offhand, but I thought he did a really good job. I think overall the episode was tonally different than what I expected. And that's tonally with an N, not with a T. I'm a little nasally right now. Even though that first chapter of Soichi's Diary of Curses, it is quite different tonally from Ito's other works. I wouldn't say it's like super different, but when you compare it to something like Uzumaki, it's quite different, I guess you can say. And there's quite a bit of humor as well in that chapter and in the episode as well. The first time I ever read that specific chapter, I think I read it in a wrong state of mind because I didn't catch the humor right away. It wasn't until I saw this episode and went back to reread that chapter that I was like, oh, I guess that was supposed to be funny. Sometimes humor just doesn't click in my head. I don't know. But the humor was not an unwelcome addition. I think it really added a lot of charm to the first episode. If anything, I think it's kind of smart that they started off with a more tame story. Still, some of the weirdness that we are familiar with from Ito's work is implemented into the episode, but it's not overbearing. I certainly think if they're gonna save the worst for last, that's certainly going to be effective in the long run. Now, I do have to say, there was one scene that I felt slight disappointed with, mainly because I thought it looked much creepier in the comic book. They could have done it way better in animation, I thought, and it's actually the bathroom stall scene with the... Well, I really don't want to spoil it in case you haven't read that chapter or seen the anime yet, but it takes place in a bathroom stall. I just kind of felt like it was animated a bit lazily. And I don't want to imply that it looked bad. It looked just fine. I just thought that it would have looked better had it been handled a bit differently. I definitely think that a little bit more time could have been spent on that specific sequence. That one and one towards the end as well. I really don't want to spoil, but a character being chased by something is pretty much all I'll say. That tiny nitpick that I have, though, certainly did not ruin the episode for me. If anything, it made me even more curious to see how they're going to do the other episodes. And I think they actually did something kind of brilliant at the end, because once the episode ends, we do get a really short little clip of a doll's hellish burial, which I most definitely did not expect. And it was great. I think it set up the proper atmosphere for, the coming episodes. It was very creepy, subtle at the same time. For the most part, it was just still frame. There wasn't really heavy animation in the sequence. But I thought that worked, especially considering it was just a really short portion at the end. But I saw it as kind of a really good segue, considering that the first episode, yes, it was kind of creepy and it was weird, but compared to Junji Ito's other works, like I mentioned earlier, it's a little bit more lighthearted. So to start off that way and then to end the episode with a doll's hellish burial, I thought it was a pretty smart tactic. It's certainly a good way to preview what's to come in the coming episodes. And that's actually what I'm most excited about, what's to come. I do know that a lot of us are excited about the Tomie portion of the series. Apparently it's going to have 2 OVAs instead of just 1 episode. So that's, high expectations, but I'm kind of nervous as well. Because we've been shown that they're able to do all the character stuff right. The only thing we haven't really gotten a glimpse of is the more grotesque imagery coming to life. And so I'm a little nervous about that. One of my biggest complaints for a while has been that although I love the Tomie live action films for what they are, I don't think that any of them have really lived up to the comic book quite yet. Maybe the newest one, Tomie Unlimited, I think that one got pretty close, but it was still kind of campy, due to budget restrictions. I think really this is the opportunity to bring justice to the manga. And I did get good vibes from the teaser trailer, where they don't show Tomie, but they just have her voiceover saying that she's the real Tomie. I really liked the voice acting job in that portion. So I do have high hopes, but again, I'm a little nervous. I haven't decided if I want to do a review of each episode. Initially I thought I would just do maybe like a review of the whole thing once it's done airing. But to be quite honest, I was a little eager to do it. I'm just excited that these comics are finally getting a proper adaptation. Like I did state earlier, I think so far so good. I don't have any heavy complaints, and I truly think that they're slowly easing us in, and hopefully they'll end with a bang. But those are my thoughts, and if you would like to share yours, I would love to read them. The one thing I hate is sometimes not being able to talk to people about stuff like this. Usually I'm able to online, not so much in person, but let me know what you think, because I think they're on the right path, and I'm excited to see the next episode. And until next time, pleasant screams.